Nilo. I have to visit that place and look at it again.
Good.
So it's just coming back here, just that feeling of home.
Good.
Yeah, I've not been to where I was, where I lived, but just getting to Bafoussam, I feel at home. Like,
Thank you so much. And so Bafoussam today, as compared to his back, it's not the same.
Yeah,
Lots of things have changed. You see the roads and so on, not like before. Nothing like home, home sweet home. Thank you so much, Dr. Counselor Lizette Berry. Okay, that's it there, ladies and gentlemen. In terms of marital counseling, anything is a brain fitness coach in terms of all what psychics and so on. Just channel your questions if you have. But again, we're talking about someone who caught the dad sleeping with the elder sister, and he or she is scared of telling the mom. How do we handle such a situation? The first question I have for you there, dear counselor. First of all, in a situation like this, the man, that's daddy, and daughter, they're already caught in the act. Maybe it's difficult to speak out. One point in time, they need help, if I may say. They need help. And this is someone, a member of the family. It could be their sister or brother who has caught them, who is in a better position to speak, to be able to help these persons. We know there are lots of things that will hinder them not to speak, stigma, shame, and so on. But again, who is in a better position to speak right now?
Okay. The first thing is, do the people being caught in the acts, that's the dad and the elder sister, do they even realize that they're doing something wrong? Because maybe the only thing they are ashamed of at this moment is that they've been caught.
Good.
Do they first of all realize that they're doing something wrong? And the person who caught them. Now, this is the most difficult part of my job. Whenever something like this comes up, I have to psychoanalyze you. I don't like doing it.
This is
excellent.
excellent.
Because sometimes we see things that are not there. Sometimes. And sometimes we see something that maybe is just close to what we think we saw. So I have to psychoanalyze the person, even though the person might be very certain of what they saw.
Good.
And I don't like that part of the job because, when you see something and someone is telling you that maybe you didn't really see something, it can be very disturbing. But it's part of it because you need to solve the problem, you really need to get down to the root. It's all about perception. Okay, how does the person see the case? Before thinking about speaking up, how does the person see the case? And this is one thing about Africa generally. Our system or our justice system is always about the punishment. When we see something like that, we immediately think about the punishment that these people can get.
It is so excellent.
Yeah, but it should go far beyond that. First of all, it's why. Why are they doing that? You should understand that sometimes there are spiritual issues concerned. There are mental issues involved. Just a small percentage might be people who are just doing some stuff out of wickedness. A very small percentage. Most often it's a mental issue they have or a spiritual issue. So we should not always rush towards the idea of the punishment that the perpetrator may get. It's more about helping them. How can you save them from themselves? So the better person to speak up, it should be anybody who realizes that what they have done or what they have seen is wrong. But who do you speak up to? I think that should be
the best person to speak. Thank you so much for bringing that aspect this afternoon. Very important. We should speak in terms of a situation like this. Now, I like the aspect of those in the act. Do they even realize what they are doing is wrong? Maybe they are, maybe concerned about the fact that they've been caught and not even what they are doing. Very important. And what should speak is the person who realizes that what we're doing is wrong. Yeah. What if they realize that what they are doing, daddy, you know that this is your daughter, you're sleeping with your daughter, you know that what you're doing is wrong. The girl too knows that what they are doing is wrong. But again, stigma, shame, fear, sometimes even your own dad will threaten you. If you dare speak out, I kill you, and so on. There are those situations and so on. So it may be difficult for them to speak. Okay, we put that aside now. Don't you think the third person coming in now is the person who caught them in the trap? Don't you think this person stands a better chance of helping them out?
Yes, the person does, but who the person is going to speak out to?
That's another aspect.
Yeah,
because he's scared of telling the mom.
Yeah. What if he tells his mom and the mom says, he or her mom, I don't know whether it's a lady, what if this person tells their mom and the mom things that they align.
Good, because we want to come back to that. Even there is the aspect of sometimes even the girl may entertain the courage to even tell you, "Mommy, this is what is," and you refuse.
You refuse,
Or is even afraid to talk. Or sometimes even your mother, you will tell your mother for fear of shame, disgrace to the family, we want to hide such a situation. So how do we handle such a situation?
Yeah, that to me is where professional help comes in.
Good.
Whenever you see something like that, first of all, for your own sake, the person who saw that thing, I'm not even too. The first concern is not about the people in the act or what they have seen, what they are going to go through after seeing that.
Good.
It's going to be a big help to them, especially if they don't know how to handle it. So that's where professional help comes in. If you can get to maybe your church, your pastor, or talk to a counselor or a therapist, someone that can help you to deal with or to understand the whole situation and help you present it to whoever you need to tell. And you may want to tell your mom, yes, but maybe you should have someone else do the
Thank you
telling.
so much, because I was about asking how would she receive such news.
yeah.
For example, one is your daughter, your husband. Ooh, it's already a curse, a taboo
Yeah.
into the family. This
Yeah.
incest we're talking about, and so you maybe the person will need to find someone to help. So who is that? You talked about a counselor, you've talked about the pastor, and now in a situation where it's really difficult to
Yeah.
have confidence in pastors. They're
Yeah.
not all some.
Yeah.
If you trust your pastor or your imam, you can go ahead. If you don't trust, you can look for a neutral person like a counselor, because sometimes you may want to talk even to a family member, you just spoil the whole thing. Sometimes you may want to talk to a close friend, you make it worse again. Finally, I think I don't know if Miss B is correct this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you think a counselor is the best?
Yeah, someone. That's what I talked about, professional help. You need to be able to find out the right person, because just like you said, so these days sometimes you tell your pastor a problem you're going through, and then the next Sunday he puts it in the message, even if he
Thank
doesn't
you.
call the name.
Thank you.
But you know that that's something happening to you. You just told him, and he puts it in a message,
You
which is
kill the
it's
person
not
for
good.
life.
It's not good at all. And even the external person coming to deal with the family, it's already like a taboo, a shame on them. They feel like you've exposed a problem that was supposed to be kept inside.
Good.
A lot of these things happens in our homes, and even when someone speaks up to the parents or to the mom in a case like this, I know lots of parents who will say, let's not tell people because they can embarrass us, or we are going to shame the family. Let's just keep it inside. And then we keep covering some of these things that will cause a lot of problems in the future. So yeah, professional help, but you have to be careful who you get. Make sure it's a real professional, someone who really knows their job and they respect the ethics of their job.
Good. Someone who knows the job and they respect the ethics of the job. Very important. So it's a traumatizing situation, especially for the person, the girl or the boy who caught their father and sister in this act. And sometimes you may not even think before you do. I think as a brain fitness coach, because I really want you to handle this girl this afternoon, because there are lots of girls going through this, but they don't know how to speak out. We will talk about that, and where I want you to focus. Somebody you may be watching and you're a victim of this kind of insects in the family, you understand, and to move on with your life is difficult. How do we bring that person back to normal? Thank God we have a brain fitness coach this afternoon. So but now the person who caught them in the act, and it's traumatizing. Sometimes it's difficult, you can't really bear it. And what word do you have for such a person? Maybe you need time to really sit down, and before there must be a way out. You just rush and speak, or how do you?
No, you should take time to try to understand the situation. But again, it depends on who it is. If this person is quite young and they try to analyze it in their brain over and over, it can instead cause them like some mental health in the long run. It's a very serious situation. So if it's somebody who is a little more mature, you can try to think about it for a short while, but you need to get help immediately. You need to get help immediately, because the way the brain works is very funny. You try to analyze what you've seen in your brain, right? And then it just keeps building up. What the person might be thinking, what if this now start happening to me? It's my dad. he could as well do this to me? What if it starts happening to me? Or does my mom know and she's covering this up? The person, there could be a lot of questions going on in that person's mind. So for me, the best advice is you should get help. Get somebody who will actually listen to you and understand you and try to work it out with you.
Good.
And
Don't handle it on your own.
Yeah. And most especially help it get it out of your head.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and this time around, it should be someone whom you can really trust.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to find one, but someone you can really trust who is professional and respect the ethics of his or her profession. Thank you so much, Counselor Lizette Berry. Okay, now as a brain fitness coach, counselor, marital counselor, and so on, she handles pre-marital issues, post-marital issues, if I may say, and those, in their various, diverse facets, if I may say. Most often, I really want us to help the girl out there, because this is a whole lot of psychological trauma. This girl will live with this her entire life. She needs someone to bring her out of this mess, and all this has to do with the brain, the psychology, the inner man, and so on and so on. Now, a lady caught in a trap like this, before we even try to bring her out, sometimes don't you think, even if she is threatened, even if shame, somebody maybe say you're attacking because you're not a victim, it's difficult to speak up.
Yeah.
It's difficult. But if you're a lady, you may be watching and you're in this kind of situation, what should you do? Sometimes you need to mount up courage to speak. I don't know, it's difficult, but we need help.
Yeah. So that's why we need platforms like this, so that you can start encouraging people, educating people on things like this, to know that if they speak out, someone will be there to listen to them.
Good.
Because we've had some of those situations where people will go out and then they'll turn it on them, like maybe it's the way you dressed. Maybe the person is sleeping with you because of the way you dress.
But this is your
Which
father.
is, but people have a lot of things to say in situations like this, which are not professional, so you should be careful who you talk to. But let's normalize speaking about these things on platforms like this, telling young girls how to open up. Now, in most of these cases, right, a bigger percentage is something that starts with the dad, which is the older person in question, having like immoral thoughts about their daughter. It's something they have lived their life and they have already experienced some changes and they have become who they are. They have not dealt with their own situation. And now the young daughter is coming up, a young girl still trying to find their life, and the dad starts being obsessed with the girl. You don't know how long this thing may have been going on. Maybe he started having this thought about the child when she was way, way younger. And maybe it even started a long time ago. In most cases, the older person would be like putting the younger one into this position and maybe threatening them, as you said. In very few cases, which I have handled some, the dad and the daughter actually feels that they're in love. In few cases, you've seen situations like that. And in almost 90% of the cases, the mothers know.
But they hide it.
They hide it. The
mothers
mothers know.
Excellent.
They try to talk to their husbands, and maybe the man also has a power over them that they can't say anything, and all they do is try to use it. Sometimes the mothers will hate their daughters because it's as if they are sharing a man. Sometimes they just don't know what to do, and they just keep insisting that you should keep it in the house. But I said 90% of the time, the women know.
The women know.
They know.
And that child is suffering. Yeah. You're destroying that child's entire destiny. Okay, thank you so much. There's a problem for bringing this up. This is really serious. Whenever I look at this file, it's like we just keep talking and talking. You made mention of the fact that sometimes even in a situation like that, the dad and the daughter may feel that they're in love, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I want to believe most often, I don't know, I'm trying to ask a question here, but maybe you will put it well. Most often, when it happens like this, it's like these dads will go intimate with their daughters. It's like they have a particular attraction to this particular child. And that could be a psychological problem, maybe from his society, his background, or maybe something happened, there's a story a counselor shared with us about a father who loved that particular child and had to do this with the child.
With the child.
My problem is now, what will make the father to have this particular attraction to this child? Is it that when they were growing something happened? Or understand? Or there's a problem? Because most often we attach this to, sects, if I may say, sects. Was that conditions and so on and so on. But sometimes I think too, there is this aspect of particular attraction tilted to one child. And what could push a father to have that particular, are there some reasons?
This will be more on the person that the father has become over the years. Like, you have to look back into their life,
Okay.
what they went through.
That is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Sometimes you look back into
Into the father's life,
and
yes.
you know why. Now it boils back to what you just said, the solving the problem.
From the roots.
Thank you so much. So right on, we look back
into their lives. Sometimes it's a chain of this abuse that has been in the family. Sometimes maybe their own parents or an uncle or somebody did something like that to them, and it changed their entire life. They may have been trying to fight it, but they ended up becoming the people they were fighting. Some cases, it's just the environment that they grow up in. They don't know what is right from wrong. And again, like I said, the way the brain works, every time you have something repeatedly going on in your mind, it becomes a reality to you. So if a child is exposed to something like this, and maybe the person dragging them into this makes it look like it's okay, they might play it in their mind in the beginning, it looks like it's bad. But they have told that child so many times that it's okay.
becomes normal.
Yeah, it becomes normal to them because they have played it in their minds. Even though there's a conscience in that person that will keep calling out to you. It might be very small, but it will keep calling out to you that there's something wrong here. But then your conscious mind has already learned the wrong way. Your subconscious might be telling you though that this is wrong, but your conscious mind has already learned the wrong way. And it becomes a lifestyle, it becomes a pattern. You don't know how to break from it, even if you try. So sometimes the parents or the people, these perpetrators, there are people who have experienced similar things from their past lives and they didn't deal with it. And now they have become the monsters that they feared. Sometimes.
Oh, this is so, Miss B is trying to digest, but when I look at the time in front of me, to really, sometimes the past will push, because I remember most often we would look at conditions, or we forget this aspect. Look at the man's past life. There may be something that's pushing him to have a particular attention or attraction to this particular, why this child. And we know of others who do it even to all their daughters, because I've heard it was recently, there was a case of someone shared here, the man was doing it to all the daughters. There too, there is a problem.
Yeah.
But now we need to, bring them out of this. Okay, we're coming to talk about that, ladies and gentlemen. Now you understand why we can't really take transitions here, because we don't have time. If you're just tuning in, we are on the platform Meet the Marriage Counselor and the Relationship Coordinator. It's always NG Television, so media platform across the Cameroon media landscape, where we talk marital issues, relationship matters, cohabiting issues, and all that has to do with love affairs. So wherever you're watching us, distance is not a barrier. Maybe in Cameroon, out of Cameroon, this is a counselor all the way from Ghana, here to cancel the program. Wherever you are, the numbers are in front of your screen. Go to, the social media platforms. You can write to NG Television, Facebook. We'll receive your problem and we'll try to give you the best of counsel from the Zen. So that's it there. You can be a part of the conversation. Ask any question to a brain fitness coach this afternoon whatsoever. And before you know it, you have the best of, counsel from the Zen. Okay, we're still riding through the file we open up. It's all about, I caught my dad sleeping with my elder sister and I'm scared of telling my mom. How do I handle such a situation? It's been running. We don't even, we trying to stop it, but we still have a lot to talk. So please just permit us go through this, because it's a whole lot of problem in the community today. And lots of girls are going through this, they can't really speak out. And you see, the girl becomes, different from other girls in the society because the child is living, no matter how you try to make it right in front of them, like you earlier mentioned, but there is a problem. That girl will never, will hardly interact or integrate in the society like others. Now, how do we bring such a girl out of, this kind of trauma as a brain fitness coach? Someone is watching, you know of someone who is going through this or has gone through this and is not really trying to feel free in the society or integrate. How do you bring this person back?
Okay, the way therapy works, a lot of people kind of have the misconception that it's just sitting and talking to someone. It's not just that. Like, I have to talk to you to understand the situation, but we have to figure out a way to walk through it together. So what it means is I'm providing you with tools that will help you to actually take this thing off your mind and to focus on your life. Because things like this, it doesn't just affect the moral aspect of their minds, it can change their entire career. Just like you said, they will not be able to integrate into society normally. They might not be able to study well if they're a student. If they might have problems at work, they might have a lot of things disturbing them just because of one issue that is now controlling almost every part of their lives. So we have to be able to separate this person from the problem so that you don't become the problem. So what we do in therapy is providing you tools that will help you to actually deal with the problem, but as a separate being, separating yourself from it. Just as I was saying, a father who has experienced something in their past, they have tried to deal with it for a very long time, but they did not know how to separate themselves from the problem, so they have become the problem. So what we do in therapy is helping you to separate yourself from the problem before solving the problem.
Good.
So that you don't become the problem. You get it? So it's far beyond just talking. There are methods, there are some skills, there are things that we do to help you look at the problem. Sometimes as if you are standing out of the problem, as if you are not part of it. That way you can solve it better. So that's
okay. Thank you so much. So we need to separate these persons from the problem, and you talked about experts like you to provide tools. And what are some of those tools, if we may break them down, for example?
Okay. Well, we use meditation is one of the tools. We have to train people with active meditation. A lot of people don't know how to meditate. They have to train people with active meditation. Sometimes we use hypnotic therapy. There are several kind of things that we do. It's part of the job that you do to help the person separate themselves from the problem. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So that's it there. And now this girl may not be, here right now, or it's not by you, or maybe just watching from afar. She needs something to do right now to be able to come out from this trauma.
Well, okay, I would say this is a little more complicated than when you have a situation that needs motivation.
Good.
Okay, that what we do in Africa, we like throwing motivation at everything. Like something like this will happen and we just come with, no, you have to tell your mom, no, you have to speak out. It's more difficult than that. You've not found yourself in that situation. That's why you think that it's so easy to just speak out. It goes beyond the motivation. So what I can advise you to do is, first of all, understand that you are not your problem. Whether the person who caused the situation or the person involved in the situation, you are not your problem. You are doing something wrong, or you've seen something that is wrong. We all admit that, but you have a different personality from that problem. So first of all, do not let it get into your head, because I can guarantee you that every time these persons, all the parties involved, every time they think about it, they would judge themselves from what that problem is. But you are far beyond that problem. You have something in you which is better, that you have a purpose that God intended for you to live out while you're on earth. So first of all, you don't have to let that situation become who you are. So have that conception in your mind and then try to find help. It's just one problem that you have. It's not who you are. So that's what I can say.
Okay, that's it there. And this is because, it's pretty difficult to handle such a situation from afar. If you need to talk to a counselor, you need to maybe you can, if you need to talk to a counselor, you need to find someone to, numbers are in front of your screen. You can write to MG Television, you can come, we give you our counselors to really work, you understand? And if you're a mother, you're watching your father or whosoever, a relative, you are having someone going through this kind of, situation, fine. You can write to us. The counselors will be there for you. Of course, that's why we come live every Saturday, to ensure that things like this, people get help, so that we have better marriages, better communities, and a better nation. Why not a better world? You understand? It all has to boil down from one person. The second person comes together, it becomes a union, and it starts spreading to a big family, and the community is born, the nation. And you understand, that's a role when we come live like this. Ladies and gentlemen, we're still riding through the program. From this end, it's all about, the guy who caught the dad and the elder sister, sleeping together, but scared of telling the mom. Now, I like what you said there earlier in the course of the program, dear Counselor Lizette, that most often in a home where this kind of situation is taking place, 90% of the mothers are away, but now they don't have the courage or what, or sometimes maybe the manpower over them will just shut them up and so on things, and sometimes so maybe they don't know what to do. And so as a mother, and this kind of situation is taking place under your roof, maybe you don't know where to run to, what to do. What do you do? There must be somewhere you need to run to, and there must be something you need to do.
Now, we have known for a very long time that the women have always been the heart of the family.
Good.
So sometimes, again, you have to bear the risk, like you always do in most situations. You have always been the one holding the family together. In most cases, I know that that's what happens. So if it has to go to the point of you maybe putting yourself at risk, you might have to do that for the sake of your children and for the sake of your family.
Good.
And we will do these programs because you try to help families to stay together. But there are times that you meet people who don't want the help. There are times that you really show people that they need help, but they don't want the help. They love who they have become. In such cases, you have to separate your children from a man like that. You have to find to separate them from the man, because you're letting them continue in this same cycle, and they will continue with their grandchildren and stuff like that. So when it gets to a point where the man, maybe you have been talking or you've been doing a lot, and the man is still being very adamant and just going on with the way he wants to live, you might have to separate. Even if you help the man get help, you still have to separate them.
I think this is really good.
Yeah.
We need to you find somewhere to shelter them.
Yeah.
And now, before doing it, if you have to tell that man, it may be a problem. Maybe you'll be afraid that you want to leak my secret, you want to spread it, and so how do you silently?
Yeah, you have to be wise. I mean, I know women are always wise with stuff like that. You just need to be wise, but try not to talk around with your friends and your neighbors. I know sometimes we can't hold it, and we are trying to find comfort with our friends, and it's so sad. It would have been a very good thing if your friends can be loyal and actually give you good advice. But the society that we live in today, we don't know what happens. So I still insist, find professional help.
Good.
But make sure that whatever you're doing, you have to understand your man's temperament anyway. There are some people who will go to the extent of killing to hide their secret.
That's it.
Yeah. Like I had a situation where a man was convinced that he has been called by God to create a new generation, and the new generation he has to create, he sees that he's a pure person. That's what he thinks, according to what God has laid in his heart. And he thinks that the only way to bring pure offsprings into the world is to sleep with his virgin daughters and impregnate them. That way he will be able to create a new offspring. And he really believes that this is God's voice he's hearing. And when I say believe, he really believes, because we had to go through a lot of psychological analysis to know that he's not acting it up. He was so convinced that he has heard the voice of God. But those are lies from the devil. But he's convinced that this is God.
And before you even continue, to really agree with what you're saying, if it were the voice of God for real, then why maybe God would have made it so from the beginning?
From the beginning, yeah. So that it comes back to our upbringing. Like when someone starts bringing stuff like this, most of them don't really understand the Bible. They say they are Christians, but they don't read the Bible. They don't study. Maybe if you, like this man's case, someone had told him something. There was a man of God that introduced him into something, or somebody, I don't know who that man was, that introduced him into something and convinced him. This is not him reading the Bible by himself. You get it? So our environment, it really counts. What we pick up, what we learn from our environment, and what is put in us that we now start believing. So this is really difficult to say, to just try to solve this on air, looking at it from what I've now understood. In the past, I would just try to throw some motivation at you, but from what I've gone through, what I've experienced, you will need to to meet up for us to deal with this.
Okay, so if someone is watching, I think the best word there is find an expert.
Find an expert.
Psychological expert, a counselor, and so on. Because truly, each time I come up with this file, ladies and gentlemen, for me to say your pastor, how many? But again, we will still need the pastor, because how do we break such a curse? Running already in the family, how do we? Will the psychologist, psycho the person, if let me go that way.
Yeah.
Psycho the person and break the curse also.
Okay. There's another challenge I have in the field as a Christian.
Good.
Sometimes the psychology or the neuroscience, I didn't really study just psychology, I did neuroscience actually. So the study shows that you can handle all of these cases from just the practice, like just putting some of these tools together that I earlier talked about. But as a Christian, I know that it's far beyond that. There is a source that gives life to everything that we have.
Good.
It's either a good source or a bad source. It's either from God or from the devil. There's a source. Our minds do have a lot to play in, because that's what brings the emotions and the actions that we see, or the things that actually happen. So our minds have a very, very big role to play. But what is the source? Where is the source of that energy that the person is using? So yeah, we need to pray. We need to use spiritual tools as well. We can't just deal with the mindset and leave the spiritual tools. And on the other part, a lot of us also try to just pray about it and not handle it.
Good.
Which again is a problem, because when the pastor prays for you on Sunday and goes back to his house and is dealing with his own things, you go back to your house and you have to deal with the same situation. Okay, and you come back and they pray. It's not just, I'm not saying that God cannot take away the problem, but things that have become habits, your mind already knows it. No matter how much spiritual power I just put on you, the mental situation needs to be dealt with. You need to be able to erase that from your mind so that you can start living afresh. That's why the Bible says to renew your mind daily.
Good.
You need to renew it daily. Okay, when you become a Christian, you immediately get switched from the devil's kingdom to God's kingdom. That's a spiritual movement. But as far as the mind is concerned, you need work daily to keep the mind in check.
Okay, so at this point in time, there's no way we can just sit with this like this. You will need to find someone to talk to. If you're going through this problem, whoever somebody, find help. If you don't trust the persons around you, just look for an expert. If you have enough resources, you understand, to even fly out of the country to go solve it so that you keep the shame and so on, fine. You don't have enough resources, that's why we're here for you. You understand? You can write to us, we channel you to a counselor. You can write to NJ Television. Of course, it's our role. Yeah, of course. It's our role as a medium of communication, as a communication house, is to see that we give you the best of satisfaction out there. And so if you need to talk with a psychologist,
brain coach.
Okay, with a brain coach, understand, psychologist, a counselor, write to us. They will do a good job for you. You understand? Of course, somebody, sometimes we may be thinking about the cost, the fare. No, this is already the cost. Somebody from Ghana has a lot to do, and it's already the cost. You just need to channel. I like what you said, that sometimes you see a problem you want to solve, but the person is not willing. So the coach will not come to your home. You understand? It's just for you to write. And that's why we're still grateful to all those who trust in NG Television, trust in this platform, and you're writing to us, of course, nothing but the very best of counsel. We offer. Most often, even we're not interested in your identity. You want to hide it, fine. But if you feel that you can talk to us, you come live, call, ring, write, come, we channel you too. Counselors, 45 minutes after 3 p.m., the studios of NG Television. We still have some time to be together. As far as the program Marriage Counseling is concerned on NG Television, we want to say hi to you, Dr. David Bekoncho in Dubai, to you, Ada Juan in Dubai, to you, Counselor Klaus Ayeniesto in Dubai, to you, Elizabeth Ibn in Boya, to you, Peace Book in Limbe, and of course to you, Catherine Destiny in Cyprus, that's the Middle East, and lots of others who are joining us this afternoon. As far as the program is concerned, the question for the day, we already have your reactions, but again, I don't think we'll deal with that this afternoon because we really need to, finish this lady today, before she goes back to Ghana. Let's really have her live, because after this, I don't know, but let's see how it goes. Maybe you'll be having her just from Ghana. But today she's here. You can write and ask your questions and so on. But we have a small problem. Connection is not smiling down on us this afternoon. Never mind. Just channel. And with time, she will be back. Maybe all the way from Ghana or here in Bafoussam to give you nothing but the very best of counsel. Greetings to you, Reverend, Pastor Gaston Dion in Bakingli, Edina Bakingli, and to you, Reverend Inanga in Bakingli. These are lovers of these programs who are always connected this time. Councillor Mike Chair, I know you're watching. Madam Jemima Chair, you're watching. Councillor Nemlak in Oren and Trelavi Bafoussam, thank you so much. Lots of persons we can't really call out today, but again, thanks for being part and parcel of the program this afternoon. Okay, is it right or wrong for a man to have full monopoly over his salary without telling the wife what he earns? We really don't. Let's just leave that. Let's focus. You understand? But again, keep sending your reactions in terms of what we're talking about, dear counselor. Now we call it have the aspect of tradition. Does tradition have the role to play this? I know they would do. I don't know. Should we solely leave this for a brain coach to handle, or maybe we need to go throw up some water in the air in the village, or we need to, I don't know.
Well, that's really complicated. Sometimes there are some, as a Christian though, sometimes there are some traditions that maybe, that seem, though, should I say, contradict your Christian faith. And it depends on what you believe. It depends on what you believe, really. But even from a mental point of view, I've seen a case where, according to the tradition, if these people are caught in an act like this and you want to cleanse them, you have to come to the market square and have them repeat the act.
Thank you.
Really?
Just busting the whole
Really?
situation.
So why would you want to do that? So there are some of those things that you don't want to even make the people relieve it. Even in therapy, in some therapy situations, you try to make the person relieve the situation. I don't do that. That's one of the parts of the therapy practices that I don't do. I don't let you try to relieve something that I know that it's evil or it's bad on your mind. I don't do that. We understand the situation. I'll let you talk to me because I want to understand your perception. But I don't put you into that hypnosis for you to relieve the situation. No. So anything that will cause you to integrate yourself again with that act is just way wrong. Now, if the tradition is actually going to help, I don't know how your tradition is. If it's something that is going to help, maybe they are going to have elders talk to you. They're going to be some wisdom talk. We don't have to just throw away our traditions to accept you see that it's bad or something that will contradict your faith. So,
okay, so it depends on what you believe and how best it can work for you to. But again, I think at this point in time, Miss B or Lady B, I will stand with the coach. You understand? I think first of all, turn to the brain coach. That's a psychology. What's that? A psychologist, if we may say. Talk to the person and then see how your pastor can come in if you really trust the pastor. But there are pastors out there. Of course, we need them to in something like this, but we just need to find help. You can't really live with that as a mother. You can't live with that as a young girl, and you can't really live with that as a man. No matter whatever reason brought you into this situation, some may say we have special, attraction towards this particular child. No, but it must stop. It's a whole lot of problem and so on. Okay, thank you so much once more to your counsel on this set. Of course, and if someone is watching right now from Ghana, maybe through the social media platform and so on, what's that one word of salutation we say to in the Ghanaian language?
Are you sure I know that language? I know very few things about the language though.
Yeah, even one word, somebody who's been there for long, maybe even just good afternoon. It's not both you.
Okay, it is saying I really miss you guys a lot. So just means how are you? Yeah.
Okay, how are you?
Yeah.
It is sent. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That's it there. Please, before we go, for the 5 more minutes we still have to be together. Should a woman in a situation like this continue with such a man? I know this may be, hard. First of all, you already mentioned, sometimes the women may know and they keep it. Not every woman can take this.
Yeah.
There's some who can discover and they would deal with you. They would deal with you for their daughters. They don't care if, but a woman in a situation like this, and so she continue with the marriage or break, or some other who say to her it's human to forgive is her forgive. But a woman in this situation, the pain and so on, everything, what should a woman do?
Like I said earlier, if the man is actually willing to get help,
If the man is actually
willing to get help, yeah,
very important. And if
But-
he's not willing,
no, then wow, this is hard to say as a Christian, but you would have to separate for the sake of your mental health. I'm not really talking about divorce here.
good.
You need to give yourself time.
Breaks.
You
far
really need
away
a break. Okay, sometimes you need the person to be by themselves to understand what they are doing. It just depends on the whole perception. If you leave this man by himself, sometimes he might miss his family, or he might realize what he's been doing. So separation is important in every case. Sometimes it's good to just take a break, not necessarily the divorce, as I can say. It's just necessary to take a break from a situation like this. And if the man is not willing to get help, that's a difficult one. I won't tell you what you can do. You have to judge for
As a
yourself.
woman, you can't really sit and watch your daughter go through this.
Yeah.
You must do something. And this is evil. Because you are part of the evil as a mother. If you want,
Yeah.
should you sit and watch your daughter go through this?
No, you shouldn't. Like
You
that
must
would be
take
a definitely no. You have to take action. So sometimes even separating just the daughters from this man might really not end the case. If he's attracted to younger people, if he's attracted to children,
Go outside.
He will
even
go
is
out
better.
and do
No,
it
it's
again.
better.
so well, it's going to keep it's the same cycle, whether to his own children or other people's children. It's the same.
That's
cycle.
why you woman, wife must speak out so that we know that this is a danger.
Yeah.
You see him come, you just catch your daughters and put them in.
Yeah, in most cases, even this needs to be taken to the justice system. Actually, someone who does this needs to be kind of imprisoned, or let me say, not just for the sake of the punishment. I keep saying that we have to look at how to help the people. We need to take this man somewhere, isolate him from people, and let him solve the problem.
This is
You
good.
can't leave a perpetrator like this in the midst of people, because even though lawyers they kind of hang on this thing when we talk about the psychological problems. We talk about the fact that this person can have a mental problem, and lawyers hang on it to make a case to keep these people out of jail. It's wrong, because the reason you are putting them in jail is not just the punishment, it's also keeping other children away from that situation. You are saving other people's lives. So sometimes you need to separate this person, whether it's to a jail or just a correction center, whichever, depending on how willing they are to get help. If they are not willing to get help, then they should be isolated. They should be kept away.
Thank you so much. This is very important. And so, as a woman, you can't really just keep on watching. You must do something. And so, to all our moms out there, if you happen to have a situation, please don't keep it to yourself. Speak out. I know of someone who always say, if I have a problem, I can't die without. I must. Better you laugh at me.